Wall Street Journal NBC News poll, 62% of Americans think Hillary Clinton should call herself Hillary Clinton, while only 6% think she should call herself Hillary Rodham Clinton. Well, I mean, who cares how many names a person has? And here's another question. Why are they still hanging on to that old phrase, First Lady? I mean, I wonder what they're going to call the husband when we finally elect a woman president.
They're going to call him First Lady.
If we're lucky, they'll call him Bill Clinton.
Oh, Mavis, give me a break. It's bad enough that she's got her own office in the West Wing. Let's not coronate her yet.
Really, I just don't get you. I mean, the woman is heading a national task force on health care for the entire United States of America. What is wrong if she has a small little office in the West Wing? Where would you like her to work? On a TV tray in her bedroom?
Hey, I don't really care. I just thought that you elected him president.
Why do we have to go around pretending she's less than she is just because they're married to each other?
Yeah.
Why do we have to talk about her stupid headband or whether or not she has her gloves tied to her purse? I mean, really, I am so tired of these idiotic discussions about women. I mean, personally, I care a lot more about where women are going than what they'll have on when they get there.
Well, now, I do think appearance is important. I'll never forget the mayor's wife in the little town where I grew up. She wore knee-high hose with hot pants. Not a good look, really. And he eventually was defeated.
You know, Mavis, it's getting where you can't say anything to women anymore. It makes me long for the old days of we shall overcome.
Okay, that's it.
What's the matter with you?
I told you what's the matter. We're tired of hearing all this silly stuff. It's just another way of trivializing women.
Well, I'm not trying to trivialize women. I think women are essential. Although Dustin Hoffman did do quite a nice job in Tootsie.
Listen to this. Here's this fella, Charles Paul Freund. Note the 3 names. He's written this real snotty article about Hillary, trying to make out how she has bad legs, and how she ought to be able to wear a hat without looking like a chipmunk. I mean, this is just the sort of stuff you expect to read in junior high. In fact, I remember in my junior high paper, somebody wrote that Janelle Brownmuller, our head majorette, had comb breasts. And here all this time I didn't know that was good writing until now when I read it in the Washington Post.
What I want to know is, how come we never hear these kind of comments regarding physical appearance about men in the administration? I mean, how come nobody in the press ever noticed that Brent Scowcroft had skinny little bird legs or that Johnson Noonan had a big old lard gut?
Lard gut? Mavis, what kind of talk is that?
That is the kind of talk you are going to hear from now on if you say one more negative comment about Hillary's appearance.
It's getting to where I can't even talk anymore because nothing I say is politically correct. Sure was a lot easier when the Republicans were in power and women knew where they stood.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think I know where I stand. I think the larger question would be where you'll be lying tonight because it's becoming increasingly clear it will not be in my bed.
Well, I wish to hell I hadn't even walked by. I didn't know it was going to be the end of life as we know it.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing's going on. Mavis and I were just watching Dee Dee read the paper, and then a crowd formed, and now I need an ambulance.
Hey, there you are. Did you pick up Elliot's fish tank yet?
Yeah, I did, but you're gonna have to put it together. Pop and I couldn't figure out how to anchor that little castle.
I'll do it when I get home tonight.
Oh, my gosh. Miss Lottie, have you seen this?
What?
Well, it's one thing for them to bash Hillary Clinton, but now they're bashing you.
Who? What are you talking about?
Well, look, it's right here on the op-ed page of this paper. I just started saying op-ed recently. I love it because it sounds so smart.
Let me see. Power women in politics in a new era when more and more women appear to be breaking the glass ceiling in the workplace. Some of them still run the risk of running head-on into the old sexual stereotype better known as sleeping your way to the top. From the lower echelons of corporate America to independent women who freelance in their various professions, no one can be assured of being completely immune to the sexist raised eyebrow of yesteryear. Farvnik. International journalist Georgie Ann Lottie was the subject of Washington gossip and speculation in some news publications several years ago, which questioned her professional objectivity in researching a book about Fidel Castro.
I can't believe it. Why are they bringing that up again? I mean, if they want to discuss this issue in some sort of generic sense, well, that's one thing. But tying my name to some old and outdated gossip is absolutely unscrupulous, and it's irresponsible. It might even be slanderous. Give me that. I'm going to call up these people and tell them to put it where the sun don't shine.
Well, is it true?
Is what true?
About you and Castro.
I don't believe it. Are you actually asking me this as a serious question? Here in front of my co-workers? The man whose home and life I now share? The man who's supposed to revere me and my reputation, you're asking me if I had an affair with Fidel Castro?
I'd be real careful how I answered that.
Well, I got to admit I have wondered.
Oh, you have wondered, have you?
Gee, it's getting warm in here. I think the rest of us should go over and raise the window and check out the mall.
No, please, you really don't have to go. Obviously, this is a question that's been on someone's mind for a long, long time, and I want to answer it for all to hear in case anybody else has been wondering.
Well, you don't have to answer for me because I remember reading about that before I even met you, and I thought it was just a bunch of junk. Anyway, you never hear of a man being accused of stuff like that. I mean, like when David Frost landed that series of interviews with Richard Nixon, I mean, did anyone suggest that maybe he and Richard were having sex?
Well, Mavis, but thank you for bringing that image to life for the rest of us. Now we can all skip lunch.
Wait a minute, I want to get this straight. Okay, somebody is accusing you of having an affair with a man in order to get what you want from him.
That's right.
So, what's the problem?
What about you, Billy? You believe it?
Believe what?
Do you believe that I use sex to get information from my book on Castro?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you, Billy?
Well, heck, I don't want to speculate about how people use sex. It's none of my business. And apparently, not anything I'm going to be involved in anytime soon. Anyway.
No, I guess that answers my question. Now I'm going to give both of you an answer.
Oh, no, don't feel compelled to do that. I mean, that's information that I just as soon not have. Just tell me if you've ever stolen a motel towel, and I'll be happy with that.
No. This is a look I've seen on both your faces before. It always has to do with this particular question, so I want to answer it. But when I do, I don't want either one of you ever to bring it up again.
Boy, that's a promise.
Ditto.
But before I answer it, I just want to say one other thing. Have you ever wondered how it is that a man can travel all around the world,
Oh, boy.
enjoying his job, cutting a wide social swath, having all kinds of friendships and relationships, both personal and professional and sexual, in all kinds of capacities, and never once be asked the question that I was just asked? From Edward R. Murrow to Peter Arnett, I have never in my life ever heard anyone anywhere ask if they got any of their news stories by offering sexual favors. And even if they had done so, they certainly would not have been accused of being bimbos because of the people that they slept with.
Hear, hear.
So, my question is this. Even if a professional woman did have, say, a varied and rich sexual life, where did the idea ever arise that this would affect her competency or her IQ? I mean, if we've learned nothing else in the last 1,000 years of observing the behavior of men, it's got to be that if indiscriminate sex kills brain cells, then this world would be run by a bunch of blithering idiots.
So, what are you saying?
So, did I sleep with Fidel Castro? The answer is no. But thank you for asking.
Okay, so you didn't have an affair with Castro, so I made a mistake. But you have to admit, you put somebody like him with somebody who looks like you, and it's not an unreasonable assumption.
Someone who looks like me?
Well, look at you. You're gorgeous, and then there's the way you dress.
The way I dress?
Well, yeah, you look sexy. Kind of provocative. But also dignified and tasteful.
Look, I want to tell you something, Hartman. I want you to get this straight. If I want to look good, if I want to look sexy, that's my business. But looking sexy and having sex with someone are two entirely different things. I have never been confused about that. But you and a lot of other people evidently are.
Look, I said I made a mistake.
Dad, I think you hooked up the air tube wrong in the aquarium. There's too many bubbles.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
The fish are acting funny. They're swimming sideways and hanging around the bottom.
I said I'll take a look at it in a minute. You guys go on out there and keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Can you believe these fish? I mean, they spend their lives living in the tropic, but you put them inside a house, all of a sudden they need all this maintenance. I mean, I never saw anybody providing them with oxygen tubes or scattering flakes, in the ocean for them, much less giving them their own castle and an aquarium.
You know, I know it's true, but I still cannot believe that you would think I would use my sexuality to get a story from someone. Could we have really spent this much time together, and that's what you think of my professional integrity, my ethics?
Well, no, it's not like that. I figured if you did have an affair, it was something that just happened. And if I'm completely honest, I was probably a little jealous.
You really meant it. All those jokes you used to make about the people I interviewed, Neil Armstrong, Lee Iacocca, it just hit me. You weren't kidding. What do you think? I go around dating everyone I need a story from?
No, of course I don't think that. Isn't Neil Armstrong married? I mean, remember, I thought he was married when he said that thing about one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Remember that? And hey, how about when they hit that golf ball up there? Wasn't that
All
something?
right, quit trying to change the subject. You know what I think? I think that you assume that since I worked and lived all around the world and I knew a whole lot of people, that I cut a wide sexual swath. But I didn't. And even if I did, what would that mean about my professional ethics? Nothing. I mean, did you think I was kidding when I said I hadn't had a sexual relationship with anyone in years?
No, I didn't think you were kidding, but, you know, I mean, you just seem to fall into my bathtub pretty easily.
Why do you keep saying these things? I mean, do you have a death wish or something? Oh, you were talking like a man that doesn't realize that he's in a room with a wide assortment of serrated knives and a corkscrew.
Look, don't get mad. I'm glad you fell in my tub, you know. Lots of guys soak, you know, for 3-4 years and don't experience that kind of luck.
Don't you understand that you were special? You know, as a matter of fact, it's becoming increasingly clear to me that you are the promiscuous one here. Yeah, you just sit around in your bathtub waiting to see what'll fall in. You know, it's become obvious to me that you just were fooling around with me and then you fell in love.
That's not true. Well, okay, I admit that that's all I was thinking about at first, but no, then right away I wanted to get to know your personality, your mind, your hopes and dreams for the future. And of course, all your family members, your aunts, your uncles, everybody. Georgie, come on.
Don't touch
No.
me. Don't even think about the possibility of touching me. In fact, I don't even want you to think about the possibility of getting into your car, driving to the airport, flying to Bora Bora, and there in the corner of a tiny little hut, all alone in the night, even think about the possibility of touching me.
Georgie.
No, I don't want you to speak to me. I don't want you to speak to me. I don't want you to think about speaking to me. I don't want you to think about the possibility
Am I going to
of
Bora
speaking
Bora
to me.
again?
As of today, you have lost the right to touch me and to speak to me. In fact, I don't even want you to look at me.
Oh, come on, George, you're being ridiculous. We live in the same house. How can I not look at you?
Well, that's your problem, not mine. And if I catch you doing it, I'm going to take all of your clothes out of your closet. I'm going to cut them up into tiny little squares, and then I'm going to set them on fire.
Oh, well, that would provide a wonderful role model for the children. I can't believe you're acting this way. I told you I made a mistake. I love you.
Now that I think about it, I don't even want you touching my food in the refrigerator or walking where I have walked.
Dad, these fish are really acting funny.
I told you I'd look at it in a minute.
Their eyes are bugging out. They're going belly up and floating to the top.
I told you both I'll take care of it.
But what if they die?
I am not going to let them die.
Well, this is horrible. I thought you said you wouldn't let them die.
I'm sorry, son. Obviously, I'm not a very good person.
Man, look at how bloated they are. You blew them up with too much oxygen.
I did not blow them up, Elliot. They just look bigger outside the tank.
Well, I guess that's the end of my science project. Now I'll get an F for sure.
I'm sorry, son. I guess I let you down. I guess I let everybody down.
Guppy killer.
Georgie's mad, the kids are mad, everybody hates me. Why is everybody acting as if I'm some kind of mass murderer? The other night, Ben and Elliot were chomping down in front of the TV set on a plate full of Mrs. Paul's fish sticks. I didn't hear anybody crying then. I guess it's okay if they're cut into squares and breaded and don't have names. You know what I'm raising, Billy Bob? A couple of hypocrites.
You might want to get some sleep tonight. You look a little haggard around the edges.
And how do I know I'm the one who killed them? Those kids were probably overfeeding them. You know, fish are the only things in the animal kingdom who, if you even give them the tiniest extra helping of anything, they immediately expire. Why can't fish throw up, Billy?
I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things.
Hell, I'm glad they're gone. I hate fish. Give me a dog any day. You give them an extra helping of anything, they don't go belly up on you.
Well, they're really pouring the guilt on you, aren't they? Anyhow, what happened with you and Georgianne? Did y'all make up?
Make up? What, are you crazy? She won't even let me touch her food, walk where she walked.
You know, I don't see what she's so steamed about. I'd be flattered if somebody thought I'd had an affair with some big world leader. Well, maybe not Golda Meir. But you know, that Corazon Aquino's not bad. Not that I got a hankering for her or anything. You know what you ought to do?
What?
She and Mavis are always talking about equality. And since she thinks you're a sexist, it might make her feel better if you told her that the only reason you thought she had an affair with some big, important international figure was because that's what you did.
Yeah, with who?
I don't know. What difference does it make? Just make somebody up. Jean Kirkpatrick, former ambassador of the United Nations.
I know who she is, but why on earth would she believe I had an affair with her?
I don't know. Just say it may seem improbable, but when you saw her in those starched suits, hot chihuahua.
And what does that get me?
I don't know, man. It may get you back in her good graces. It may get you killed. I'm telling you, these women are tricky.
Maybe she's really upset because she had an affair with someone she hasn't told me about, and just my questioning her about Castro makes her feel guilty.
Look, all you have to remember is she hangs out with Mavis, and they start talking about that feminist stuff, and they feed off each other. And now the Hillary's in the White House, they smell blood. Our blood.
You know, Billy Bob, until today, I never realized what a chauvinist goat you really are.
Yeah, well, for right now, I'm all you got. As a matter of fact, if I were you, I'd send me some flowers a little later today, just to brighten my afternoon. Card would be nice, too, but it's not necessary because I don't know who sent them.
You know someone, you live with them, you work with them, you give them your love, your respect, your loyalty. Then all of a sudden you find out that they thought you were a completely different person than you thought they thought you were. You know what I mean?
I think so.
Well, gee, Miss Lottie, I know you're really mad at Mr. Hartman for thinking you had a fling with Fidel. But there's one thing I think you ought to remember, and that is that Mr. Hartman is very, very cute.
Thank you, Miss Starr.
It's pretty funny. I mean, even though you didn't have an affair with Castro, you are living with John, and that is going to leave you wide open for speculation around the office should you ever get a promotion.
I don't want to be promoted.
Of course, he could become commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and no one would question his advancement. Am I becoming bitter? Do I sound strident?
You really do.
It's just so hard to combine perkiness and congeniality with these kinds of comments.
Sometimes I wish I could find a nice, superficial job somewhere. Like that girl that demonstrates scuba diving equipment on some cruise ship? There's no stereotype to fight. I mean, you just stand there all day in a little tiny bikini and point at things. Then a guy named Chuck takes you out for a drink with umbrellas in it, and the two of you make hot monkey love. I mean, it is just too hard to have integrity.
There appears to be a theme here. I mean, it just seems to me that if you're the first lady, you cannot have a career of your own. If you're having an affair, you can't be your lover's business associate. If you're a gay man, you can't be in the military. No matter how you look at it, being in love with a man just really screws up your opportunities.
Boy, I think we really need to be careful. We're starting to sound sort of like, anti-man. And personally, I love men. I love the way they smell, and I especially love the way they say they're not ticklish until sometimes after they've untied you, you wait till they're asleep, and you take that rope and you rub it across the face.
All right, Miss Starr, we get the picture.
Yeah, I'd prefer to have no female fish, only males. The tank will be a simpler, happier place. No, I'm not married. Why do you ask? Okay, then what? 2 angelfish, 2 cardinal tetras, and an Aranda? Oh, the Aranda's a girl. Oh, well, that's all right. 1 girl. What can it hurt? Yeah. The important thing is that these are of good, hardy breed, something that you could leave on the dashboard of your car during a really hot day and they still wouldn't die, even if you forgot to crack the window. Okay, yeah, thanks. I'll see you later.
No, I think my problem is I am just so mad at Hartman. I have all this anger, and I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's too bad women just can't duke somebody like a man does. I mean, we're raised to be such people pleasers.
Well, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'd say you two have beaten that horse down pretty good. Anyway, Miss Lottie, I thought you were an expert in martial arts.
Yeah, I am, but I'm not going to use that on Hartman. I mean, it would hardly be sportsmanlike.
Why don't you punch him one time, but make it count?
Yeah, I'm sure he'd much rather have that than 6 months of emotional and sexual deprivation. That's a new word from my Reader's Digest vocabulary quiz. I needed to use it in a sentence.
So I should just walk over there and hit him?
Sure, why not? Men do it all the time.
Goodness knows they hook up cable all over the world so they can watch 2 men doing it on television. They must get some kind of satisfaction from it.
But I abhor violence. I mean, I used to get in a fight with when I was little, but I always got these conflicting messages. My papa always said, "Go get him, Tiger." And my grandmother was always in the background saying, "Don't get your white gloves dirty."
So, put on a pair of white gloves and deck them.
Probably would feel good. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should just do it.
Go get him, Tiger.
Don't let down. She's coming over here. Remember, she's your girl. You have the right to question her past. And whatever you do, don't wimp out.
Right.
All right? We'll make it harder on you next time, remember.
Gotcha.
Okay?
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I've been a big jerk, I know, but I love you more than anything in the world. I'd do anything to get you back. Please just let me touch you again and walk where you've walked.
I forgive you.
Cut! All right, let's try that again. This time with a little less feeling.
I assume the glue on this treasure chest isn't going to dissolve when you put it in the tank.
Yeah, well, don't assume anything. Diver Dan's helmet came apart, didn't it? This is more of a nightmare than Voltar's evil slime pit that I had to put together last Christmas.
You know, I have to admit I'm kind of flattered that the boys chose to name the girl fish after me. Have you noticed that she's the natural leader of the tank? The other fish just kind of follow along behind her?
Yeah, my guess is they're all talking about the way she wiggles that little tail.
Dad, keep us looking wrong with Diver Dan.
I told you, I'm working on the helmet right now.
I know, but his little scuba tank must be hooked up wrong. There's no air bubbles coming out of it. He just now float to the top, too.
You killed Diver Dan.
Dad, come quick. I don't believe this. I was just sitting here watching everybody swimming around, and the poor little fish were swimming behind Georgie. When all of a sudden she turned around and ate him.
She ate him?
That's what they get for talking about her.
Wow, look at her. Now she's bigger than ever. And she doesn't look sorry either.
Oh, God. Well, there's nothing we can do about it tonight. Why don't you guys go on up to bed? It's late. Georgie will tuck you in.
Come on,
clean up.
Cookies, I'll walk you home.
Give me a horseback ride.
Okay, get on.
How come Georgie ate all the other fish?
Oh, it's a long story. I'll explain it to you when I tuck you in. Good night, Mr. Cousteau.
Good night, and don't flirt with my children. So, you ate all the boys, and now it's just you. Yeah? You think you're pretty big stuff, don't you, Georgie, swimming around there all cocky? Queen of the sea? Well, I got a surprise for you. Diver Dan is still alive. Woo! And I'm the guy who's gonna put him back together. Then we'll see who's boss of this tank. Now, just get Part A to fit with Part B. The world will be a better place.